Hey, welcome to your Bio 169 course. My name is Mr. McKinney. This is just a quick introduction to help walk you through the Blackboard site with the lecture and lab material, the modules. So that way you just understand how I think you should approach this course and a good way to go through each of the chapters, each of the modules. So I'm just going to share my screen real quick here with you. All right, so mine might look a little bit different than yours. It's just the instructor view, so you should be able to follow along pretty similarly though. If you're new to WakeText Blackboard, across the top you have all the different page tabs. There's a calendar that will have due dates as they get populated into there. Any announcements that might be made, you can click on that. There's a discussion tab for a student help forum. Your grade book is very important. Make sure you're looking at your grade book, checking your grades, and staying on top of that. And of course, if you need to send me a message through Blackboard, you can just do that to check those course messages. You should always start with the course entry quiz. That will open up all of the other material for you. If you can't see anything, it's probably because you haven't gotten a 90% or higher on your course entry quiz. The first tab is just your getting started. It has a lot of that basic information, your syllabus, a little bit about me. This smarter proctoring, this is where you're going to go and schedule your tests. This class is fully online, but your exams, your lecture exams, and your lab practicals are going to be in person at one of our e-learning testing centers. And so through Smarter Proctoring, you can see all of those dates. They're already been posted in there, and you can go ahead and start scheduling your exam times. Quiz correction instructions for your lecture and your lab quizzes. You can submit corrections for your two lowest grades and you'll be able to get half points back. So the instructions for how to do that are there. Here's a Bio 168 review. This is just for students if it's been a little while since you've had Bio 168. These assignments aren't for a grade. They're just to help you refresh any of that material, things about the nervous system, tissues, those kind of concepts that we're going to be coming back to a lot in 169, but maybe you just need a little more perspective or refresh on those. These last things like student support resources from Wake Tech, the things that college offers to help you. Student help forum, again, that's the same thing that was in that discussion tab. So you can post questions here and it will send me a ping to let me know, or other students might be able to answer those questions for you. The BibliU course materials, this is not how you access your textbook. This just tells you what textbook you're supposed to have. Really, it's just one of those links that we kind of add there just to make sure students know what resources they need. But if you click on this, you won't actually go to your textbook. Again, it'll just list the bookstore, it'll just have the bookstore listing for what textbook you need for this class. The content of the course is broken up into these modules. So there are 5 modules, 2 or 3 chapters per. This first one, module 1, is chapter 17, 25, and 27. As you drop it down, you'll see they're all set up in the same way. For module 1, your exam 1, you have this written questions document, and then you have the 3 chapters with the material included. I'll come back to the written questions. For each chapter folder, they're going to be set up the same way. You start with your introduction and learning objectives for that chapter. This is a really nice way to see, well, what is it that I need to know? What am I supposed to be studying? The learning objectives are going to literally be a list of things that you need to know when you've finished this module, this chapter. And so it kind of breaks them up into the basics and you have your different bullets. I always say each one of these is essentially like a question. I would treat each one of these as a question, even though they're statements. You should be able to, for example, list the major endocrine glands and their location within the body. You can either list them out just on a sheet of paper, you can draw a bubble map, you can make a spreadsheet, however your brain works. Nothing to turn in here. You don't have to submit anything. This is just for you to understand what do I need to know as you're working through this material. The next couple of things, there is a PowerPoint. These are the lecture PowerPoints. They go along with the lecture videos. I think that they match up. Sometimes I might have some new PowerPoints. The videos, I will be honest, are a little bit older. They're from a couple years ago during COVID. So it's me teaching on a green screen. You will see how my hair progressively gets longer. My clothes maybe go from button downs to t-shirts just because as the summer, if y'all remember the COVID summer, it was hard to get a haircut at that point. So those videos are from that period. They are sometimes longer videos. They're time stamped usually, so you should be able to watch a few sections and then restart as you're ready. Sometimes trying to watch some of these videos all in one section is going to be, or one session is overwhelming. Some of these videos are 90 minutes, 2 hours long. I would really recommend breaking that up into maybe 45-minute, hour-long chunks, and so that way you can really process the material. Don't just try to sit down and watch it all at one go. Every chapter is going to have pre-class worksheets that are your attendance assignment, post-class worksheets, and then a lecture quiz. The post-class worksheets are going to be where the questions on your quiz come from. The post-class worksheets, they might have something like 80 questions in a pool. You'll see 20 of them at a time, 15 or 20 at a time. And then when you go to take your quiz, it's the same thing. The lecture quiz and the worksheets are coming from the same pool of questions. So the more times you do your worksheets, the more questions that you're going to see, the better prepared you're going to be for your quiz. So make sure you're doing multiple attempts on your post-class worksheets before you start doing your lecture quizzes. The exams for each unit are based off of the same questions. So they're multiple choice true false questions on your lecture exams are going to come from the same pool of questions that the post-class worksheets and the lecture quizzes come from. So to prepare for the quiz, you need to do your post-class worksheets. To prepare for your exams, it's the same thing. They're going to be kind of coming from those same sets of questions. So just make sure you're focusing on that when you're trying to figure out, okay, well, how do I study for these tests? These post-class worksheets and the lecture quizzes, that's where your exam questions are going to come from. Now, you're going to see random questions each time. Sometimes you'll see the same ones. Sometimes you'll see new questions on your worksheets and quizzes. So it's important for you to do each of them as many times as you're able. So that way you see the most amount of questions. Once you finish your attempts, you can go back and you can review each of those questions. You can see the ones you got wrong. You can see what the correct answer is. And that's a really good way to study for the test. Because again, for the test, I'm going to pick about 35 or 40 multiple choice true false questions. And those questions come from these same pools of the post-class worksheets. If that's confusing, reach out to me and let me know. Each chapter also has some study resources. This is a combination of YouTube videos. I really like Crash Course and Amoeba Sisters, so you're going to see those quite often, kind of going back over these concepts. I like these videos because they're usually about 10 to 15 minutes long. They teach at like an AP high school level, so it's not as in-depth as we go, but it gives you a really good introduction. So if you're looking for major concepts, structures, processes, these are good videos to be able to watch just to get an overview. And then there's some practice things. There's some practice worksheets for each of them that are helpful. I don't have an answer key for these that I give out to students, but if you have questions, you can reach out to me, schedule some time, and we will go over those together. So every lecture chapter is set up that same way. PowerPoints and videos, worksheets, homeworks, quizzes, and then some study resources. So as you're going through your these modules, right, you have your course content, and again, your exam questions are going to come from these post-class worksheets. Your exams also have written questions, and so those are this document. So the multiple choice true false questions come from those post-class worksheets. There's usually about 35 multiple choice true false questions, and then I'll add maybe 4 or 5 short answer questions. And for me, a short answer question is anywhere from a sentence to maybe 3 sentences. So it's just kind of asking you about a topic. And these are the questions. So the short answer questions that are going to be on your exam are going to be from this document. So what I recommend doing is going through each of these questions and writing out an answer. Have an answer for every single one of these short answer questions, right? It says 1 to 2 sentences. If you're just 3, that's fine. Have an answer to each and every one of these questions, and I'm going to pull from here. There will be, I think, on the first test, 4 short answer questions that come from this document. So you have most of your test. 35 multiple choice true false questions that come from the worksheets, the post-class worksheets, 4 short answer questions that come from this document right here, and there's going to be 1 essay question. And an essay for me is maybe 1 or 2 paragraphs. It's not, a full 5-page essay. It's a couple of paragraphs, a longer answer, and that one I do not give you. It's usually some kind of integrating a couple of concepts within these chapters. I always say, the best way to prepare for those is to make sure you're reading the textbook, make sure you just kind of have a good understanding of the chapter, because that's kind of how I gauge, well, how well do you actually integrate this information? The multiple choice true false questions, the written short answer questions, you have those, you can study those, you can prepare for those, but for the essay questions, you really have to kind of have a good understanding of these topics. So that's how you prepare for my tests. Do your post-class worksheets, do these written exam questions, read your textbook, and you should be, that will prepare you. So that is lecture. This class also has lab online. So you have your lecture modules, and then at the end, you have your lab modules. There are 3 lab modules. This first one covers labs 1 through 4 and lab 8. So again, similar kind of thing. You have folders with each of your labs. Within the lab, you're going to have the actual lab pages. This is our lab manual document. So you're going to have the lab manual pages. There is a PowerPoint and a lecture recording video. So the PowerPoint kind of gives you an overview of these topics. The lab recording is me actually with these models, with these structures, going through and pointing things out and explaining things to you. And then you have some practice questions. You have this endocrine system structures practice, and then you have an endocrine system quiz. Similar to the lecture, the endocrine system lab quiz is going to pull questions from this endocrine system structures practice. So that's why I put practice on there, because what I want you to do is I want you to go through, and for every structure, you're going to click on it. It will show you a picture of that thing highlighted. And what you should do is take a screenshot of that, put it into a PowerPoint, put it into some kind of document with the name of that structure, and that's how you should study. Again, this practice has all of the structures that you need to know. So once you've done that once, you can do it multiple times. You can do it as many times as you want to. Once you've done that multiple times, you feel comfortable, you have those images with their correct names, because spelling will matter, spelling will count on this, then you're ready to do your systems quiz. And so the quiz, again, is going to pull from this practice assignment. So the more you've done this practice assignment, the better prepared you will be for the quiz. For this, you do have to type the words in. There's no multiple choice. There's no drag and drop label. You have to actually type in the word, which is why I'm saying spelling is important. If you think that you are losing points because you spelled something wrong, or there was just a slight issue but you think you should get credit for it, send me an email with the assignment and the question number, and I can go back and review those. But every lab is the same way. You have your lab pages, PowerPoint, a video, practice questions that are going to have the structures, and then the quiz that you can then take from that. Each lab module has a lab practical with it. So the quizzes, you do those on Connect, at your home, at leisure, wherever you study. It doesn't have to be at home. But these quizzes you can do on your own. The lab practical, you can see it's hidden up here. You actually can't see it. Does still have to be proctored. Even though it's going to be delivered through Blackboard, you still have to go to an ELTC location, schedule your time, go to a location. You'll log onto Blackboard, and you will take this practical on our Blackboard course, but at an ELTC location. So that way it can still be proctored. The practicals will come from these practice questions. I'm going to go through, I'm going to go through the practice questions. I'm going to pull structures. Usually practicals are about 50, 55 questions. And it will be just like essentially a long version of these quizzes that you've been doing. So if you're doing well on the quizzes, you should do just fine on the lab practical. You get about 90 minutes. I do sometimes add a little bit of extra time for this first one, just so as you get used to it. But 90 minutes is plenty of time to be able to do a 50 question practical. And so that's how you should be working through your lab material. As we go through, if there's some places where I can add in some extra self-talks or some extra resources, I'll do that, and I'll email you just so that way you can know that those are available to you. But if you have questions about how to work through the course, how to access material, how you should be preparing or studying, please reach out to me. Let me know if I can help at all. And yeah, if there's anything else I can do for you, I'm happy to try and help. Thank you.